Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. I am so incredibly happy. So I got tons of claps going on over on LinkedIn. Seeing everybody over here over at Twitch is awesome. And for the first time, we are also live streaming to Instagram. The new partner conditions for exclusivity for Twitch now allow us to do some multi-streaming to some platforms that aren't necessarily competitive to Twitch. So looks like I am getting just a tad bit of frame droppage here. I know we were looking at that beforehand. Asking my moderators to check in on that. We may have to does appear to be a bit choppy. We may be tanking the computer a little bit here. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's cut our Instagram feed and let's see if that does it. There we go. Let's see if that does it. We don't have to stream to Instagram if that's causing the issue there. We'll stop to. There we go. Okay, good. Hopefully that may. Checking my feed. That looks like it may have fixed it. Okay. All right, awesome. So that's what it was. All right, so it looks like we got some more testing to do, Brian, when it comes to testing out Instagram just a little bit. So that sucks. Sorry for the Instagram folks who are checking us out on Instagram. Unfortunately, that is terrible. Terrible. Oh my God, there's a Cyber Columbiana sighting in chat. Cyber Columbiana. So good to see you again. So good to see everybody again. Sorry, I may have had the volume turned down on the mic a little bit. All right, cool. So now that we're off of Instagram, hopefully that affects some of the frame rate issues. Happy Friday morning to everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm super excited. Obviously, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Wow, we're still getting frame drops? What is happening with the frame drops today for some reason? Is this the Twitch gods punishing me for not streaming in a while? You know, it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if this was the Twitch gods punishing me. Okay. We'll let it go. I do have some bad bit rates going on my Twitch monitor as well, so I'm not sure where my frame rates are dropping in. I've got a good signal. We'll see if it corrects itself. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully the audio still comes through great. It's been a busy couple weeks. I appreciate everybody who has sent me all the well wishes. I've gotten tons of get well cards, tons of get well meals. Lots of people have sent me great things to eat, because Lord knows that's exactly what I need to do when I can't go to the gym is continue to eat more. I had surgery on Wednesday. For those who did not know, you can kind of see a little bit of it here. Still got a little bit of my incision patched up here, and then I've got another one down here. So I did have surgery this Wednesday. They put in a device in my chest, and it kind of like loops from here all the way up around my collarbone and into my heart, and it's a port so that they can easily do my transfusions, so that they can stop blowing out my veins whenever they give me an IV on my arm, which has been a huge problem. So that's been a good one. Yeah. Insta Slam. Yeah, we've got a good following over on Instagram, Scott. That's why I was trying to get the Instagram one to work. Unfortunately, Aeon, I can't do YouTube yet. Twitch's exclusivity. Obviously, they're in direct competition with YouTube, so no hanging out over on the YouTubes for live streams, so long as that exists. But yeah. So other than that, I've been pretty good last week, so I am pretty happy of this fact. Last week was the first week that I've been able to go all week without taking any pain meds to sleep because of pain. I'm at a 0 pain scale as of today, which is huge because that's obviously been one of the biggest things that has been pretty limiting for me is the massive amount of pain that I have here in my abdomen area. And so I've been able to get that pain to go away. The first treatment went really well. I had about 8 days worth of pain. The 8 days after the treatment, but then after that, man, yeah, I got to feeling really, 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 really good. But now that this surgery is in place, they literally, and I think that I think they did this to me on purpose, but they said no exercise and they said no golf. What do you mean no golf? Are you telling me that swinging a golf club is going to injure me? Damn it. They told me no golf for 2 weeks. Anyway, enough babbling for me. This is our Friday morning AMA stream. Welcome to everybody for our Friday morning AMA streams. I absolutely have missed doing these. I won't be able to do one next Friday because I have my second treatment next Friday. And so therefore, I'll be at the hospital all day getting IVs, and chemicals and stuff like that, injected into me next Friday. So, maybe I'll find a way to do something, because I'll tell you, it's quite boring sitting in that hospital for 2 hours, 3 hours trying to get injected. Mark Score says, are you drinking tea from a beer stein? Maybe not a full-on beer stein because it doesn't have the lid at the top, because I do have one of those. Just a coffee mug that I did pick up while I was in Germany. Real quick, for those who have never participated in a Tea with a Hacker, this is our Friday morning AMA stream. Just good time to catch up with everybody, chill, talk to everybody, figure out what's going on, answer any questions. Typically we do these because there's a lot of opportunity to ask questions during the week whenever we cover very specific topics, but there isn't a lot of time to ask questions of me specifically. And so I offer up this time so that we can kind of have some intimate moments together, share with you some of the experiences I've got, and answer any questions you've got about anything cyber related, anything about my cancer diagnosis or treatments, my workout plan, as it's obviously going to have to change as a result of this, cybersecurity in whole. Whether it's how to get a job, how does this particular function work, how do you solve this particular challenge, what do I think of this latest and greatest, thing that's happening, any of that stuff. I highly encourage you to drop those questions into chat, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Twitch, whether it's on Twitter. Actually, if you at us on Twitter, we can pick up tweets that are added to us on Twitter as well. Thank you very much, Caitlin. I love this stream. It helped me so much. I want to give a huge shout out real quick. I always give a huge shout out to my moderators for their dedication each and every stream. We do have tons of moderators here who help facilitate questions. We also will be doing a giveaway today, so you don't want to miss out on that one. I want to give a huge shout out to Brian this week, who helped me expand the capabilities of vMix out. Brian is now helping me, dedicated to questions. That way we can make sure that we get as many questions answered on our time on stream together. I know that has always been a challenge for us, is me, on Friday mornings, I end up doing solo question grabbing and trying to do all the questions and everything else, and get to them. So now I got Brian here to help me. Brian's was amazing in helping me troubleshoot that this entire week. And so Brian, huge kudos and shout outs to you. I appreciate you. So yeah, my moderators are here to keep chat free of sexist, racist, misogynistic, and elitist behavior, otherwise toxic behavior. We have zero tolerance for toxicity here on this stream. My moderators are quick with their ban buttons, so you know if you need to appeal to a moderator, it's probably a great time to remind you hit that exclamation point Discord and hop on over into Discord to make sure that you can chat with a moderator if something bad were to happen. Very happy to see you again, Lola. I'm always happy to see you. I very, very much want to continue to stream more frequently. Streaming brings me an immense amount of joy. Cyber Columbiana, yeah, you missed this a little bit. And I saw Zafeda said it too. Yes, about 3 weeks ago, yours truly got diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 melanoma. It came as a pretty huge shock to us. Obviously, we were definitely not expecting that at all. There's really nothing else to say about that other than, you know, it is what it is. We're fighting. I'm not done. This thing ain't gonna kick my ass. And so you know, we're fighting it. We're fighting it. I think that's it. So anyway, you tell I'm not running from any script this morning. I'm really just kind of winging it out. So I'll ask Brian to start pushing up some questions here in this. So for guys in LinkedIn, drop your questions in LinkedIn as well. I'll do my best to try to navigate over to LinkedIn and catch you guys in between the questions that are coming through on Twitch. It's obviously a lot easier for me to aggregate the questions in Twitch than it is on LinkedIn. vMix yet does not have an API plugin for LinkedIn, regrettably. Cyber Lotus says, what are your thoughts on the recent Uber hack? Listen, this is super hard. This is super hard. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, that's unfair to say. It's always very quick for us to run out and bash a company for getting hacked, right? But at the same time, we're also super okay to say it's not a matter of if, but when are you going to get hacked, right? Basically indicating that we all know that you're going to get hacked at some point in time, right? But yet, when a company gets hacked and they don't have MFA, or they don't have security control X, or they don't have security control Y, or some intern put in password 123, all of a sudden we get up on our high horses and we get up on our ivory tower and we start bashing companies. Right? And I get it. We're naturally distrusting of people's intent when it comes to cybersecurity. We're naturally distrusting that they have the best intentions of mind when they go to put their security program in place. And to assume so is to assume that Uber sat down, that all levels, this oftentimes you'll hear me rail on this when it comes to conspiracy theories too. We'll oftentimes assume that the entirety of the Uber company sat down and said, we're gonna mess up security so hard, I hope we get hacked, right? And that's just not the case, right? Are there failings? I'm not here to defend Uber. Are there failings at that level, right, with what they should have done to protect Uber? Unequivocally. Was it on the roadmap? We'll never know. Did they have it in their dev and QA environments and were a week away from pushing MFA out to the entire company? We'll never know. Listen, one of the first incidents I dealt with, right? One of the first incidents I dealt with was somebody had called and socially engineered the help desk to give over access to the CFO's email account, so that they could then use that email account to gain access to the CFO's retirement account to steal money. Huge incidents. One of the largest incidents that we had, right, at that particular point in time as a company. And it could have easily been stopped with MFA. Easily. We were up and down that company talking about MFA. We were showing examples of how MFA would have stopped that hack. 9 ways to Sunday. Every which way to Sunday. Right? At the end of that hack, at the lessons learned, everybody, the CEO, the CFO, the entire board of directors, the entirety of the legal counsel said, yep, we need to have MFA in place. Let's do it. MFA is now a priority. This is a Fortune 100 company with 150,000 people worldwide, where the CFO had almost lost millions of his retirement. And they're all sitting around nodding their heads saying, yep, MFA is absolutely unequivocally important. Prioritize it, get it done. You know how long it took that company to do MFA? 2 years. 2 years. Right? So, you know, it's nice to say MFA would have fixed it, right? But companies don't move on a dime, right? To expect a multi-billion-dollar organization to move that fast is insane, right? Let me give you another example. Of all the huge financial organizations that exist out there, there is only one that has openly admitted to taking a cloud-first strategy and has actually done anything about it, right? And in doing so, it took them 10 years to completely move their financial organization from on-prem to 100% in the cloud. 10 years. They are the leader in cloud-first banking operations, and it took them 10 years to get there. Okay? Things don't move fast. Things do not move fast in corporate America. Okay? I appreciate, listen, the Internet Mechanic, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Wargore, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. Or the Prime sub. Thank you so very much for that. We are close to a hype train this morning. Oh, Simply Cyber Crew coming in. Good to see you, Simply Cyber Crew. Everybody give a huge amount of hype hands for the Simply Cyber Crew. My boy Gerald Auger, good to see you again this morning, sir. And so, yeah, so I mean, my thoughts on the recent Uber attack is, you know, it sucks, right? It sucks. Nobody ever actually enjoys, you know, having to deal with hacks. There's no doubt about that, right? It's going to happen to all of us. It will happen to your company. It will happen to my company. It will happen to everybody's company. So now that cynical part of me is out of the way, right? I just don't I don't have anything else constructive to say really about it. You know, don't be so quick to start trashing companies just because they got popped, right? Don't be so quick to trash companies just because they got popped. Learn from it, just like every war fighter out there. Pick it up, learn from it. Callie says, question, what do you think of MFA fatigue? It seems to be tossed around alongside the Uber hack. I've heard that a couple times. I do think we have some MFA fatigue. I do think that is a completely fair enough concern. I'll tell you, I want to tell you something that I get frustrated at when we talk about MFA fatigue. And again, Paranor, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Appreciate that, and pushing us over into the hype train level 2 at that. This will be a tiny little soapbox moment right here about this one, right? And this is what I mean when I say that we do it to ourselves, right? We do it to ourselves. Check this out. Do you all remember that for the longest time, we pushed MFA? We didn't make the distinction between SMS level MFA versus token based MFA versus soft MFA versus a UB key versus any of that stuff, right? We were just grateful. We were just grateful for people to use MFA at all, right? Thank you so much, Hacking Pirate for the Prime sub, Lola for the bits. Thank you so very much for that. We were just happy. We were just ecstatic for people to be using MFA. And then that first hack comes out where they're able to bypass MFA using, SIM cloning, and a couple other techniques, and we've seen a couple of those out there. And then all of a sudden, the security community does what it does best, right? The security community does what it does best, and it says, oh my God, MFA is broken. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. MFA is garbage. If you're not using soft token MFA, barf MFA, barf MFA, barf MFA. And so now what happens? Right? Now what happens? Now you're sending mixed messages. Now you're sending mixed messages to folks who we've just now been trying to get convinced that they should have MFA on everything. Right? Remember, for the longest time, we just wanted them to have MFA on something. That was the important part for us. We just wanted you to MFA something. Right? And now we're mad. Now we're mad because they aren't using the specific MFA that we specifically want them to use because somebody found some hack for it. And this is what we're talking about. This is what I mean when I say that we do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. We're not happy enough to try to move the organization into a direction that protects them in some fashion. And instead, we get hyper paranoid about some edge case SIM cloning type of attack, proving SMS MFA is broken, and therefore we go off on a tangent. We confuse the people even more. Right? So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind when I talk about, as you execute your cyber mission, that you not get so headstrong and so paranoid and so far deep into your own, nerdiness as cyber, right? That you forget that if you have something, if it is MFA and it is SMS based, it is better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. So tiny soapbox item there. I know it's I know that we all like to oh my God, the latest hacks. Oh my God, the latest hacks. 1 is greater than 0. Let's get that MFA out there. Let's stop being picky about it. And let's just get our job done. Lance007 says, Neil, are you ready for World of Haiku Pro? Absolutely. I'm super stoked for it. I think, so for those who don't know, Haiku Inc. has a game called World of Haiku. We've streamed it. Jerry streamed it. A bunch of people have streamed it. It's a fantastic, learning platform. We talk about gamified learning. This is one that actually has like an MMO style thematic to it. If you imagine a cross between, Try Hack Me, Hack the Box and World of Warcraft, right? It's that level of awesomeness. And they actually do teach really good skills. I'm not sure if we still have the command for it, Brian. If we do, drop the drop the command for it if we do have it. But if you go to Steam and search for Haiku, you'll find World of Haiku on Steam. It's incredibly cheap. It's definitely worth it altogether. Carmen got me some electrolytes, but not just any old electrolytes. She got me some super healthy electrolytes. Dan Snow says there is such a thing as too much security. When is too much security a problem? That's a fantastic question. I want to thank everybody for participating in the hype train. We did make it to level 4. They've started doing something different with the hype trains, which I kind of like. Whenever the hype train gets started, they've now called it a boost train. It actually boosts our stream on the recommended page. So we now have 1,400 recommends. It just came across. We did it. We're boosting this stream right here with 1,400 recommendations on Twitch. And so I appreciate you for helping us get recognized on Twitch. Thank you very much for that. Too much security is when you stop enabling the business to take risk. Too much security is when your users cuss your name, not for the good reasons, when they cuss your name because you have made their day-to-day life more challenging than it needs to be. Right? Listen, security should not be difficult. Security should not only not be difficult, but it should not be an unnecessary impediment. An unnecessary impediment to the day-to-day operations of your business. Remember, and I'm not sure if I know I've told this story before on chat, and I'll tell this story again, right? You know, the purpose of security is to enable the business to take risk. If I'm providing physical security as part of an executive protection detail, and my executive says, I want to go to the south side of Chicago, one of the most dangerous parts of Chicago, I want you to take me there. It's not my job to say, no, I'm not going to take you there, right? That's what most people think security is supposed to do, is to say, nope, not doing it. It's not happening. I'm not taking you to the south side of Chicago. Get over it. That's how security fails. And so what you have to do is you have to say, okay, you obviously for your business needs to go to the south side of Chicago. I now need to understand the risk, make sure I can mitigate or accept the risk. And then if we encounter any incidents while we're down there that we can respond to appropriately and take care of the risk. Right? And so if you do anything more than that, where now your executive's got to be put into a 5-point harness and a box inside of a box inside of a box inside of a box, and he's got to wear like 15 layers of bulletproof vest in addition to like a helmet, and you got to put him in a steel box when you move him from point A. You see what I'm saying? Security becomes too much. It becomes too much, right? And so when you're thinking about security, when you're thinking about what is too much for security, if you're overthinking your architectural design, if you're overthinking your security controls, if you're overthinking, you know, the way that something should be run, you're probably thinking too hard about cybersecurity controls, right? You're probably making it too complicated. If you realize that for somebody to do one simple task, they have to complete 1,000 questionnaire third-party risk form that you're probably going to accept anyway because you need to do business with them, you've probably overcomplicated your security posture. And so I think that it's an art. I think that very much falls into that art of cybersecurity versus the science of cybersecurity, but I very much believe in that. If it feels like you've overcomplicated it, or if you feel like you're a kid who built the greatest Lego spaceship in the entire world, you probably overcomplicated cybersecurity. Looking over on LinkedIn, is being a digital computer forensic analyst a good career option? This is from Frank Den over off of LinkedIn. Yeah, I think it's a good enough option. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A lot of great work to be done in the digital computer forensic analyst realm. Heaton over on Twitch says, do you think it's fair for a company to remind the entire IT workforce that we are an expense, not a moneymaker? I'd like to see them operate without IT. I could detect the slightest amount of bitterness in your voice. I guess your company's got a pretty bad habit of reminding everybody that the IT workforce is an expense. That's unfortunately a bit controlling, but it is reality. It is reality. Listen, you may be really cynical about that statement, and I can wholeheartedly understand why you're cynical about that statement, but you have to realize that is also reality. Like that you are an expense, right? So first and foremost, accept that you are an expense. It is reality. Do they need us? I'm gonna give a very, very unpopular opinion to do they need us? Okay? Companies have been in business a long time. A lot of companies have been in business long before they had IT folks, long before they had cyber folks. And a lot of those companies did perfectly fine without IT and cyber. Whether it was somebody's little cousin who came in and did IT because he thought it was fun and it was a nice little hobby, whatever the case is, there has been the existence of a large swath of these companies that have existed and done business without IT and security. And so first and foremost, you got to accept that. You have to accept that you're not required. Okay? It's the way it is. Okay? Now, once we've accepted that, how do we become better partners to our business entity so that they do find a need for us? And this is the problem that we've been having for years, right? Is that we don't position ourselves to show that we're a worthwhile expense. We don't position ourselves to show that we can help enable them to take more risk as a company versus less risk as a company, right? We don't look at cybersecurity and think about cybersecurity and think about what it is that we do and ask ourselves, can we do more to be a profit driver for the company, right? And so instead of just saying, right, stop calling us an expense, it hurts my feelings, take the challenge and figure out how you actually bring value to your cybersecurity and IT organization. And listen, if you think that you can pound your chest and say, I stop you from getting hacked, then you're still an expense. You know what kind of expense you are then? Your insurance. Because I haven't gotten hacked to date. So how do I know if you're working for me or not? How do I know that you're the one that's stopping me from getting hacked? And I just haven't gotten unlucky and gotten hacked. I haven't, I don't have any hacks going on. Is that because of you? If I got rid of you, how would I know if I got hacked or not? That's the problem, is that you can't just say, well, you haven't gotten hacked, so therefore. So listen, let me tell you the dangerous side of this. If you say, well, you haven't gotten hacked because I'm here, then what happens when you get hacked? You're going to get fired, right? Right? If you being there means I don't get hacked, then when I get hacked, you obviously failed at your job. Is that the type of mentality that you want floating around in cyber? right? Think about that for a second. So this expense conversation is hard, right? This expense conversation is super, super hard. IT is an expense. Cyber is a function of IT and therefore is an expense as well, right? But if you want to not be an expense, then you need to start thinking about how you can enable the business to take risk or how you can actually drive some improved profits. Carpe diem, exactly. Learning how to express how the tech side brings value to the biz org is probably the most important skill you can have. More important than writing 0 days. More important than writing 0 days is learning how you could talk to the business and explain the value to the business. Right? Never, ever, ever say you are not being hacked because I'm here. Yes, please don't say that. Please don't say that. From LinkedIn, Rachel Crowley says, best advice for the brand new. My associates in cyber will be completed in December. Take my 1,000 Connect challenge. There's a video for it over on LinkedIn, or I mean, over on YouTube, that talks about, making 1,000 meaningful connections on LinkedIn. Go look at my resume and LinkedIn branding videos and start working on your LinkedIn and resume branding. Gerald says, GRC winning. I didn't disagree with you on the GRC side. You just also heard me say the third-party risk management was garbage. Kai Singh. Wow, that's really tiny up on my screen. Finally, I get to watch one of your streams live. Welcome. I appreciate seeing you. Time zones suck. This is why we do the Friday morning ones, to try to get as many people from across the time zones as much as we can. A question. I just started college, and specifically IT infrastructure, cloud, and security. And we started with a lot of network security. It is hell of a lot of information to take in for a guy who is a trained carpenter. Do you have any tips for easing into it for a non-IT guy? So I was never really good. I was never really good at cognitive-based learning. Remember, there's two primary ways that you can categorically put learning into, right? You have cognitive-based learning and you have demonstrative-based learning, right? Cognitive-based learning, like I'm sure you've met those people who could pick up a book and read it and retain information like it was nobody's business, right? I was never that person. I was never that dude, right? I had to put my hands on stuff to be able to retain that information to make good use of it, right? And so what I would suggest when I see, you trying Kaising, what I would suggest maybe, especially since you're a carpenter, you're used to dealing with the trades, you're used to working with your hands, you could probably feel the difference in good quality wood. You could probably measure 18-inch stud distances, almost by memory sight if you've been a carpenter for any length of time, right? You're probably really good with your hands. Go put your hands on some of these labs that are out there. See if that doesn't help you retain some of that knowledge. Report back to us and let us know how it goes. But good luck to you and welcome to the field. Sound Monkey 70 says, I have a question. I'm a new student studying cybersecurity and I'm planning on getting into threat intelligence or risk analysis. Is there any advice you can give for what I could learn before starting out to get ahead of the curve for the future? Thanks. Networking. But Neil, I asked you about threat intelligence and risk analysis. Yeah, but you also said, what can I do to get ahead? Go make friends in the threat intelligence space. Go make friends in the risk analysis space, right? Listen, if you want to get ahead, making friends in this area where you can get real up-to-the-date information about what's happening in the career field that you're interested in is the best way to stay up to date and to get ahead of that. Find friends in the threat intelligence space so that they can tell you all the cool stuff that they're working on, all the cool tools that they're working on, all the cool stuff that they've got going on. Munchkin, Neil, I'm still doing the move to get to my first cybersec job. It's super exhausting. Networking got me the job and all the knowledge from grinding. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I know that there are tons of people who love to bash my 1,000 network challenge video, right? Tons of people out there who love to bash my 1,000 connection challenge video, right? But if you talk to most of the people in the cyber and security community, a lot of them, a good chunk of them, got their roles through networking, right? Got their roles through networking, right? And so, you know, you can knock the challenge video all you want. You can knock LinkedIn. Somebody was in Discord the other day talking about how they didn't want to be on LinkedIn because it's a social media site and they were worried about, you know, unconscious bias to their political opinions. That's some freaking paranoid BS, right? That really is just complete asinine and has nothing to do with whether you get a job or not, is to whether somebody's looking to see whether you are politically motivated left or right on freaking LinkedIn, right? And so, you know, sorry, that was almost a tiny little soapbox. I almost pivoted there a little bit on that one. But the point of the matter is, right? If you want to get ahead in anything that you're doing, the first step to getting ahead, in my opinion, is to network, right? When I have a problem now, right? When I have a problem now, I pick up my network and I call somebody on my network. Hey, I'm seeing this. What do you think about that? Hey, I would really love to do this in my organization. What do you think about that? Right? And so, you know, the network is the key to getting ahead of everybody else, because everybody else is over there bashing my 1,000 connection challenge, and everybody over there is bashing my LinkedIn branding video, and everybody over there is bashing, you know, all that stuff to try to stand out from the crowd. So while everybody else is doing that, maybe you should learn the same lesson that everybody else in this community has learned. Maybe you should focus on some networking. Maybe you should focus on some personal branding, and you should watch your cybersecurity popularity go through the roof. People are a little too sensitive these days. LXST says, I really want to get into red teaming, but everybody tells me getting into red teaming as a beginner is close to impossible, so I should start out in blue team. However, I really dislike learning blue team related content, and I don't want to work in that part of the field. Any thought? Sounds like you have a personal problem, right? It sounds like you're coming to me wanting me to tell you something different. Neil, please tell me, how do I do these things I want to do when everybody else tells me that this is the easiest way to do it? Listen, you know the answer already, right? Is everybody else right? Yeah, everybody else is right. Listen, and I've said this before, in a Fortune 100 company where there's maybe 50 people on a security team, you know how many pen testers are on that security team? Maybe one, if you're lucky. So you have a 1 in 50 chance. 3, that's a generous number. That's a generous number. Even if I were to go with 3, right? Even if I were to go to 3 out of 50 is a pretty low number. When you look at a SOC team, and a SOC team has 15 people in it, now you have 15 out of 50 chance to get on that security team, right? And so, yes, there is more opportunity for you to get into cybersecurity on the blue team than there is on the red team. There are 3.3 million jobs, open cybersecurity jobs, across the globe. However, what people stop hearing at that is they think, oh, well, good, I want to go do red team. There must be 3.3 million red team jobs out there. Yes, I'm going to get to be the red team. Yes, this is going to be awesome. No. Just in case the sarcasm wasn't dripping enough off of that, no. Most of the jobs that are out there are either GRC, for my boys like Jerry, blue team, or architecture roles. Right? And so if you don't like the job, if you don't want to do blue team job, then don't apply for those roles. Don't go down that path. Don't pursue it. That's your choice. That's your prerogative. Understand the mountain that you have to climb up. Be reality facing in the size of that mountain that you're going to have to crawl up. And then endeavor to overcome that mountain, because that's it. I'm not saying that you can't do it. The point isn't to say that you can't become a red teamer as a beginner. That's not the point that I'm trying to make over here. But you have, listen, for those who have looked at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see the Sun Tzu quote up there, right? Sun Tzu's Art of War is something I adhere to, and I love to read, and I love to understand, I love to apply to cyber so much. And you have to know yourself before you know your adversary. And you have to understand the landscape of the battlefield before you go into the battle. And so accept the challenge that's in front of you. And if you want to be one of the youngest red teamers that are out there, go forth and do it. Go forth and do it. I could care less. More power to you. I hope you're really awesome. I hope you make it. I hope you make it, down that path. But when you're 6 months, a year into your red team journey, and you're still working help desk, and you're faced with that decision where you're like, cybersecurity is a farce. Nobody can get into cybersecurity. F that role. Blah, 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 blah. I want you to remember this conversation and remember that this is what we're talking about. Life is hard. The challenge of it is hard. And so you have to be willing to suck dirt and grind to overcome the norm. And I do agree with what Munchkin said. To be a good red teamer, it's good to be a blue team first. I unequivocally believe in that. Fockets, who many of you know is a good friend of mine, that dude was one of the best incident responders, best threat hunters I knew in my entire life. He still took pen testing courses. He still competed in Capture the Flags with me. He was the best red team of the best threat hunter because he put his attacker hat on when he went in there to go do things. He could pen test with the best of them if he wanted to. He enjoys incident response and threat hunting. Right? So, again, one of the things that you'll always get from me, one of the things that we'll always talk about on this stream, one of the things that you can always guarantee and count on me for is that I'll give it to you straight. You want to be a red teamer? Go be a red teamer. Just understand how ridiculously difficult it is. Not because it's hard, not because it's magic, not because only the select few who have given divine inspiration are allowed to be threat hunter, or are allowed to be red teamers. It's not that. It's that there's probably one for every 75 to 100 blue teamers out there. Appreciate you, Josh. Josh just gave me the heads up that we do have a giveaway that we are going to work on. So I will let Josh start running the giveaway. Listen, a couple rules on giveaway. If you're on LinkedIn and you want to participate in the giveaway, you do need to be on Twitch for it. Now is probably the best time for you to get over to Twitch if you do want to participate in a giveaway. Okay? Second thing, does you no good to advance participate in the giveaway until there is a Stream Elements notification in chat to participate in the giveaway. And then third, when your name is called as a winner of the giveaway, make sure you message Josh Mason either on Twitch. You can see him as Joshua17SC on Twitch, or in Discord. Either one, and he will get you your code. All right. I like this guy. Simply Cyber brought me here. Thank you. Thank you, Titanium Gray. I like me too. I think I'll keep this guy around for a little while longer. He seems to be a pretty good streamer. I apologize for the frame dropping. My team will investigate this and figure out what happened with the frame drops. It's not a typical thing for us. Looks like the giveaway has started for Adrian Cantrell's All the Things. Good luck. May everybody do awesome. What are thoughts on the cybersecurity head game Psychology Today? I don't think I'm familiar with that particular. I assume that's a book. I got a web browser right here. Let me Google it real fast. The cybersecurity head game. Oh, is this just an article? Oh, I think I did read something on this one. Yeah. See, yeah. I did actually read this article. So let me link this article for people who I know the giveaway is going on right now. So if you see the link from me, that's the article that is being referenced by this question. When I read this article, at first I was skeptical, right? Because it read like the key to security is obscurity, right? When they're like, oh, if you just deceive the adversary, then you don't have to do real security. I was greatly happy when I found out that that was not the crux of this article. They talk about deception. They talk about all war is deception, and that's not an unfair statement. But the problem is that we're not taught deception in the same way that military commanders are taught deception in cybersecurity. When we hear deception, unfortunately, Gartner has now given us a category for deception, and so then everybody runs out and is like, "Oh my God, I must, go buy this deception technology because somebody said that deception is the right way to go." Right? And so like that's not what they're talking about when they're talking about deception, especially in this sense. And so overall, I think the article is okay, but I still think it misses the mark, right? Because I think what's missing from this article, and maybe this article just kind of talks around this, is the need for us to teach more wartime capabilities and more wartime philosophies to people, right? We don't teach operational preparation of the battle space, right? We don't teach joint warfare fighting techniques, right? We don't teach information warfare operations, right? We don't teach cyber warfare operations. We don't teach warfare doctrine, right? You don't teach warfare doctrine in any SANS class, right? And I think that's my fundamental problem when it comes to looking at whenever we see articles written about, oh, we need to take cybersecurity more seriously like we would the wartime. That's not an untrue statement, but we don't do a really good job of teaching wartime concepts to cybersecurity folks anyway. And so therefore, Bob's your uncle, right? Type of thing. And so what I would say is the article's not wrong, but it misses a few key points. And I do think that before we can do this more successfully, we have to teach better and more effective wartime operations for that level of deception game to kind of come into place, right? Charles Reed over on LinkedIn says, I love SOC and want to follow that. Do you know of any sites that allow you to practice? I already use Let's Defend and Try Hack Me. Anything else? Cyberdefenders.org. Check that one out, Charles Reed. Also, Security Blue Team. I know my giveaway guys are working on getting more Blue Team labs for us to give away on stream, but Security Blue Team and cyberdefenders.org would be the two biggest ones that I would recommend. Thank you, Josh, for the Security Blue team. If you could link that over in LinkedIn too, that'd be great. I am Rita says, what do you think about bug hunting these days? I think bug hunting continues to be an incredibly important thing for us to do. I think that as a beginner, listen, there is somebody in this community. I don't know if he wants me to tell on him, so I won't tell on him. But there is somebody in this community who's been with us for over a year now, right? Who is a customer success representative. He works in help desk. That's what he's done his entire career, customer success. He just got awarded his first bounty from HackerOne doing bug bounties on the side. Right? So it is a fantastic and very, very realistic opportunity for anybody to go sign up for BugCrowd, HackerOne, any of those bug hunting platforms, and just put in the effort to learn about bug hunting and to start pursuing down that path. And before long, you will get there too. And you'll be claiming, and it is also great practice. It is also great practice. When you're asking for hands-on stuff to do, going to HackerOne and doing stuff in HackerOne is the easiest hands-on stuff you can do for red teaming, and incredibly overlooked. Gilles Zieberstein, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, over on LinkedIn says, there are some types of hackers, script kiddie, white hat, black hat, red hat, etc. What is needed to be a nation state hacker? Some resources? Listen, the biggest troll that I get to troll people with, listen, you guys are gonna flip. The biggest troll that I love trolling people with, when they're like, Neil, what does it take to be a nation state hacker? The most elitist school I've ever been to. The only certification that the government recognizes that authorizes me to be a hacker for the United States government. You ready for this? I'm about to break down the secret to the NSA's remote operator training. CEH, baby. Boom, there it is. There it is. Go get that CEH right there. That's the only thing recognized by DOD 8570, making you authorized to hack for the United States military. Boom. Mic drop. Seriously, that is the only offensive hacking certification that is recognized by DOD 8570 that you need to be a hacker for the NSA. There you go. You learn the secret. Learn the secret right there. My point is, the only thing that you learn at the agency that makes you a state-sponsored hacker are their personal tools, tactics, techniques, and procedures that they use at the NSA. So I say all that to say, you don't need any fancy cert. You don't need any fancy training. You don't need anything fancy. You just need the government to bless you and teach you their ways. Congratulations, you're a state-sponsored hacker. Please do not take that as an endorsement of the CEH. It was, hopefully you could detect the cynicism in that. Are most critical infrastructure protection jobs government jobs? Not most. Unfortunately, not most. Not most. Most critical infrastructure companies, right? So things like water treatment plants, power plants, blah, 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 all those types of things, right? they're private companies, they're private entities. And so those have been indicated by the government as critical infrastructure type positions, critical infrastructure type companies, but they're staffed primarily by those private organizations, right? If you're thinking about like CISA level jobs, or you're thinking about, you know, DOE level jobs or things like that, sure. But if you're thinking about like Duke Power, right, who does power here in Central North Carolina, right? Or if you're thinking about like Carolina Power and Light, or who is it that we had in Florida? I can't even remember it now who we had in Florida. Those are all private companies. And so all of that critical infrastructure work, that's all done by private entities. Right? So that's what I would say is definitely not. Most of it's going to be private entity work. Thank you, Inside Sources. Florida Power and Light. I couldn't remember. After I lived down there for 5 years. What do you think becoming a malware analyst? You know, be careful when you say that. And I mean that from the sense of like, you know, again, just like red teamers, not a lot of companies explicitly hire for like there aren't, like you're not going to go to like a Mondelez or an Abbott and see a job posting for a malware analyst, right? You'll typically see a malware analyst job at an MSSP or at a company like Mandiant, or somebody who makes a business of doing malware analyst, right? And so is it a good job? Is it awesome? I think it's a fantastic career field to follow. What I would recommend is that you go ahead and start identifying companies that staff exclusively malware analysts so that you know what it is you're getting into. Just got a message from Josh, says that looks like the giveaway was done successfully. So thank everybody for doing that and keeping in line with the rules. And thanks, Josh, for putting that together. Josh, do we have anything else to give away this morning? Let me know if you've got anything else in the coffers that we can use to give away. My Bay Lee says, recently completed my bachelor's degree in comp sci as a mature age student. We dipped our toes into security, and now I'm trying to choose if we should go a DevOps or SecOps field regarding challenging but super interesting. Any advice? I mean, I think DevOps is gonna take off. I definitely think DevOps is gonna take off. I think DevSecOps is gonna take off. I think there's a lot, and especially as one of the things that I've noticed personally, let's take a trip back in time. Pre-pandemic, cloud first was a fantastic strategy. A lot of people talked about having a cloud first strategy. A lot of them didn't execute on it, right? Or they didn't execute on it very quickly. They also didn't understand what it meant to have a cloud first technology. And while I would argue that we did have a lot of SaaS apps, I would even argue that we have more SaaS apps, more infrastructure as a service apps, more no code type solutions that exist out there, and things like that. And so what I would argue, we have more of that now post-pandemic than we did pre-pandemic. And I would, yes, argue that the pandemic did help us in that regard. And so I think that if I were to look at the landscape now with the way things are right now, I think that there is a blooming opportunity for DevOps, DevSecOps, cloud security. I've always advocated for cloud security 100%. I would say that I have doubled down in the last year on cloud security, and I'm here to say I'll triple down on cloud security, so much so. Right? I think it's going to be huge. So I think what I would say is you know, there's a lot of opportunity there for both. Go with where your heart is, where your passion is, but I think that'd be awesome. What resources do you recommend for DevSecOps? I wish that I had a good curated set of resources. I don't, Callie. I will add that to my list of to-dos, and I will report back when I think I have an adequate list of DevSecOps. Yes. Yeah, let's do that. So I told Josh says that we've got more to give away, and it's been a while since we've streamed, and I missed you guys so much. We've got more stuff in the coffers, so Josh is going to keep giving stuff away. So don't go anywhere. Appreciate everybody sticking around for my beautiful face as it is, but don't go anywhere either, because we are still going to give some more stuff away as well. Should you own a phone with a de-Googled OS, such as Graphite OS or Linux Phone, if you're in cybersecurity? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is back again to this stupid paranoia that I think we have in this industry. Stupid paranoia. Right? I will rail on this every chance you give me. We are ridiculously self-inflating our own sense of worth to say, oh my God, I've got to have a de-Googled OS or a black phone or an end-to-end encrypted phone or a sat phone on a closed link network or an encryption chip, just like they've got in Mission Impossible. I got to be able to go code blue whenever I want to. Dude, no, just no. No, there is a difference between privacy and security, right? And if you have an iPhone something and it is on the latest version of iOS, and unless you're an activist, unless you're an active activist with enemies in the UAE or any other autocratic nation, that they're actively buying NSO Group software, no. And if you are, you're probably not watching my stream, right? If you're watching me, you probably aren't that type, right? And so think about that. Think about that for a second, right? Unless you are getting targeted by somebody who wants to kidnap you at an embassy and chop your head off and put you into a barrel, why? Why? It's not, you're not that important. I know this may come as a shocker. But you're not that important. Okay? So no, I do not think that if you're in cybersecurity that you have got to have, right, the freaking Mission Impossible end-to-end encryption phone, you know, blah 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 stuff, right? Not worth it. Yeah, worried about de-Googling, but clicking on every email that comes in. Yeah. When you're, listen, if you decide that you want to be that serious, if you decide that you want to be that serious, you better just start with a new identity. Because if you're listening to me now, you're already on Twitch, which means you already have an email account, which is probably with Google. Who the freak knows, right? You already have a presence on the internet that people can follow, trace down, track, whatever the case is. So you've already messed up, right? You've already messed up as it is by being a part of all these other services. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you've even downloaded the app once just to see what it was like, you already have failed the privacy game, okay? So again, a lot of soapbox there for that. Prime Sci IT, good to see you again, sir. Good to see you again. My 5-year-old son said this the other day. If you get an email and you don't know who it's from, don't click on it. Teach those kids young. Teach those kids young. That's what I'm saying right there. Listen, I very, very much believe in that teaching them young mentality, right? Right? Most kids these days will scroll through social media and not think 2 cents about it, right? They'll put their password as password 123 because they'll want to put it into 4 or 5 different, places. Didn't your mom ever tell you to keep your passwords to yourself? No, right? They didn't. We let kids use a digital device without a license, but we don't let them drive around 3,000-pound cars without a license. Which one do you think is more dangerous these days? Right? Right? So teach them young. Teach your grandparents as they're in their elders, right? Nobody's going to come and offer you a free house in Cabo. All you got to do is send them $15,000 and then they'll send it right back to you. That's just not how the world works. Over here on LinkedIn, Erican says, isn't it better to use the time for another certs like ECPPT or ECPPTX instead of CEH? Please do not take my statements, my cynicism, as endorsements for CEH. I was making fun of the government, I was making fun of the military, and I was making fun of EC Council. Just in case that wasn't explicitly clear, I do not support EC Council, and I do not support CEH. I've taken CEH and I've taught the CEH in the Air Force, and yes, it is a garbage cert. And yes, your time is spent better towards certs like ECPPT or ECPPTX. I was being sarcastic and cynical when I said the thing about CEH. So no, I do not endorse CEH. Please take anything else. Take my dog's poo and find magical offensive security nuggets in my dog's poo before you take CEH. Inside sources with the gifted subs. Thank you very much, sir. Good to see you. Listen, if you are the recipient of a gifted sub today, there is a super awesome perk that you get access to. Okay, make sure you hit !Discord. There is a subscriber chat in Discord where numerous of us hang out constantly, day in and day out, talking about cyber, talking about life, talking about all sorts of stuff. Behooves you to take the opportunity to go hang out over there. You know how I stay secure? AOL on Windows 95, baby. Obscurity at its finest. Yeah. AOL on Windows 95. Loving it. All right. Did you get done with that other giveaway, Josh? SME Productions says, I was doing Stop Think Connect seminars in my daughter's elementary school years ago, and you'd be surprised how many parents didn't know you could see the history of kids' Netflix viewing. I mean, parents are no more educated on securing their kids than, listen, kids know more about these devices than parents ever will. Right? But parents also were not taught security either. And so parents, I think, are not in a great place to teach their kids cybersecurity for their phone. Right? So we definitely have a really, really bad chicken and an egg problem where we don't take our responsibility seriously enough to teach kids to secure their own personal private data or to be secure on their mobile devices, and the parents aren't smart enough because they're not educated enough with how to teach their kids to do the same thing. And I think that's part of the problem. Comedy. I worked for Geek Squad back in the day. So many parents wanted to load their kids' phones with spyware. Absolutely. I've been asked numerous times by people. I've been asked numerous times by people to put spyware on kids' phones. I even had a close friend of mine ask me to put spyware on his wife's phone, which I was highly uncomfortable doing, and I did not do as well. So I'll answer a couple more questions, and I think we'll wrap it up for today. I'll go troubleshoot some of this frame dropping issue so that we don't have this. Looks like Josh did complete the giveaways and everything went fine there. Security Plus is still worth it just for starting out. Only if somebody else is paying for it. I wouldn't pay for my own money with Security Plus, and I also don't think you get anything good out of it. And so, no, it's not worth it. And unless somebody else is paying for it, I don't think it's worth it at all. Got anything else for me, Brian? Is that the last one? Awesome. I think that was the last one. Oh, no. How often do you stream? So my canned answer is 3 times a week. However, with the cancer diagnosis that I've gotten here recently, my schedule has been really weird. So like this week I had surgery on Wednesday. I still see I got the bandages here, and I've got another one down here as well. And so I've been my schedule has been whacked a little bit because of my surgery, because of my cancer diagnosis. And so this is why it's important to be in our Discord so that you can get the notifications, or at least have notifications turned on, or at least, have notifications turned on to onto the Twitter account, because I do typically put it onto Twitter as well. But typically 3 times a week. I will get back into the swing of things, and I appreciate everybody's patience there. I'm trying to get to a point. One of the big lessons that I've had, I'll get a little real here for you real quick on the cancer stuff. One of the things that I'm currently dealing with right now is how to live with cancer. It's been weird, to say the least. I'll sit here and I'll be working, I'll be knocking some stuff out, and then I'll get to thinking about it. Right? I'll just get to thinking about it. And you know what, to tell you the things that I think about, it's anything from, oh my God, I've got a weird feeling here. Is that cancer, or is that just my body being my body? Right? The pain is gone. And so now I'm over here like, okay, is that a sign that the treatments are working and I'm getting better? Or did they just stifle off the symptoms and, it's not really better, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so then there's obviously the really negative side of things that you can think about too, which I try really hard not to think about as well, right? And so cancer has very much been a distraction, and an unnecessary distraction for me. During this entire process. And so I can tell you that there are days that I wake up and I'm like, I want to stream today. I want to stream today. I want to stream today. But then by the time I get through my day, I get through my working day, I get through the mental hurdles of trying to overcome what's in my head about cancer. Once I get over all that, I get to the end of the day, and I kid you not, like I'm laying down on the couch and I'm like, dude, I'm so mentally exhausted from that yeah, I sit down and I go, I just can't stream today. I just can't stream. And so I'm trying to find a better way to deal with cancer on a day-to-day basis. so that I can get back into the normal habit of streaming. And so I appreciate all the support. I really do. I appreciate you guys showing up, all the time when I stream. You're my family. You're my community. You all mean the world to me. I will overcome this. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not done fighting this fight at all. And I've still got tons of content up in this head that I want to give to all y'all out there. And so with that being said, I hope everybody had a fantastic week. I hope everybody had a kick-ass week and you guys did something awesome this week. I hope you had an awesome weekend. Make sure you take the time to decompress. Make sure you take the time to mentally disconnect from everything that you've got, going on. Take some time for yourself. Okay? Know that you are loved. Know that you are doing awesome stuff. Know that I know that it's hard. All of us know that it's hard to get into this industry. And that's why a lot of us are doing what it is that we're doing to try to make it easy for everybody where we can. If there's anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn. Please don't hesitate to reach out in Discord. Most of you who are in Discord know that I'm very, very receptive to answering DMs and answering questions in chat. When you reach out to me in Discord, make sure you hit that ! socials. Do follow me on all my social medias. Do make sure you turn notifications on so you do know when we are live or when we do have something going on. With that being said, whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning. And I'll see y'all next time.